Today I'm very fortunate to have Luke Aulin, CEO of RTown, with us. He's a marketing guru. I've seen him present. He's awesome, and he's been kind enough to share some time with me today. So thanks, Luke, and welcome.
Yeah, thanks, Pascale. Great to be here.
And so for those people listening who are not familiar with RTown, can you tell us a little bit about what RTown is, why you started it, and what it's all about?
Yeah, sure. So today RTown is positioned as a digital CMO for hire, so a chief marketing officer for hire, with the team to execute the plan. So what that means essentially is we are for fractional cost to building a full digital marketing team with the technology stack in-house. Mid-market firms that want to grow will partner with us, will become an extension of their team, and we'll help them get their brand message out, generate leads, awareness, and in the case of some e-commerce clients, even sales right through the till. So yeah, I started the business, it was about 6.5 years ago. To answer your other question, I had just finished a year of travel. Prior to that, spent about 6.5 years in the technology world. Software primarily. And when I returned home in 2013, after a bit of a career break, you got excited about, the rise of digital and internet, and particularly the rise of the rise of marketing becoming a measurable discipline. So out of the realm of, sort of feeling like, I know something in my marketing budget's working, but I don't know what. Or it's not working at all and I don't know why, into a more data-driven scientific approach. So I got really excited about, the intersection of creativity and objectivity, if you will, or data-driven creativity, and set out to build a business that would serve the small to medium-sized market. One of the sort of stories in the early days of the genesis of the idea was the Yellow Pages book showed up on my doorstep in 2013, and it was probably 3 or 4 inches thick at that time. So I did what everyone does. Like, first it's like, holy crap, this exists. Second thing was take it to the recycling bin. Saw stacks and stacks of Yellow Pages books in there, and I went, holy crap, businesses are spending marketing dollars with a company. That company's killing trees and printing these books, and it's just going straight to the recycling bin. So that was just one of the moments of there's got to be something to do about this, and part of how RTown was born.
That's a lot of trees. So so it's clearly a busy space, but at the end of the day, every business needs to sell, and you can have a great business, but if no one knows who you are. So it must be a very fractured, busy space. So what makes you different from all the other options out there?
Yeah, it's such a true thing. It's a lot of what gets asked is, wow, it's so competitive out there. How are you different, or how's it going? It's a very fractured market. There are so many ways to do this, and there's also a lot of people with a laptop and who live overseas or purport a life of doing this well from their boat off the coast of Bali or something. So it can be a confusing space, very busy. We're aware of that. Some of the things we do to stand out, in our world, it's important to think about niching down, and for one, we make it clear that we're not in the world of branding, so we're in the world of performance. So we're partnering with brands that want to grow, and they invest in the work we do, and it's highly metrics driven. So that's one area where we're clear. And then what that's done is it's created some competitive advantages. Like, we have developed over the course of 1.5 or 2 years now, some really world-class reporting that is helping brands understand, marketing dollar attribution to product line, to marketing channel. And so the high integrity with which we provide data, I think, helps us stand out. obviously culture is always a differentiator. We do feel our customers experience our culture through a world-class team that truly does care. Then the third thing is we've started to segment into the world of franchising a lot more, and we're seeing a lot more success and increasingly seeing franchise systems come on board with us. And I think it's because in our history we've got good strength at developing this kind of work and executing on it for smaller local brands. We've gone up market over the last couple of years. So franchise systems have a need to do franchise development, which is, attract entrepreneurs to become franchisees for them, as well as a need to support the franchisees that they have through local demand generation. And so they're attracting, employees, they're attracting end customers. So that's the kind of complexity that we've, developed a niche around and serve very, very well, and helps us stand out. So any brand that's trying to grow through multiple locations or multiple product lines, where there's a level of complexity and a need to understand customer journeys and where the best path is to acquire customers, we're positioned very well to serve that market. So
well, what I like about what you do as well is you do provide a lot of great education as well. So if you're a business and you want to know more about PR and what do I need to do, you've got RTown Academy, which I would imagine also you educating prospects and clients leads to a better conversation around what needs to be done and how you put a good plan together.
Yeah, for sure. And it's something, thanks for that, Pascale. We've been building out the RTown Business Academy as a way to add a value in a way that it will be difficult for other marketing firms to replicate and provide. So and it's broad-based education strategy. Think of it like the Netflix for SMB Business Academy. So we've got courses, everything from how to get free PR to, and that's done by a guy named Cameron Harold, to our most recent course is actually about mental health, and it's by a guy who in Vancouver. His name's Kevin Lawrence. He's one of the original Vern Harnish Rockefeller Habits coaches. He wrote a book called Your Oxygen Mask First, and it's really about mental health and the C-suite or executive leaders, reminding them to take care of themselves with a host of tools about how to approach that. I mean, that's who he wrote the book for, but I honestly feel like this course is great for anyone who is feeling any sort of stress or which is most people today, mental health being such a huge issue. We've decided to make that a free course online, so everyone can access it. But yeah, the RTown Business Academy, we do charge the general public for it, but we do provide our customers access to our course content for free as part of our engagement to work with them. So it's a way we add value beyond what I think other companies can provide.
Yeah, I love that. That's great. And so where do you think most companies go wrong with their marketing? I mean, I've worked for very big firms, and I always felt, I'm not going to mention any names, but certainly for a couple of them, I always felt, being part of the sales team, I'm like feet on the street. I know what the pain point is out there in terms of prospects and clients. And I always felt there was a lack of communication between sales and marketing. So you'd go to marketing going, this is the problem we want to solve for our customers. But they'll be like, oh, no, I made this pretty PDF, and this is what we're going to focus on. I'm looking at it going, my prospects don't care about this.
Sure. Yeah.
You're just wasting money on this. And it's sort of an internal fight I've had more than once. And I'm just like, well, that's a disconnect I've seen on the inside, but from your perspective, where do you think companies go wrong with their marketing?
Yeah, one is, forgetting or failing or getting caught up in the overwhelm and losing sight of the customer's story. And, it's really about empathy and deeply understanding how your organization solves the customer's pain, if you will. Or really taps into an unmet need, and so many companies still get it wrong today, where they're telling their own story, and really what they have to do is get into the mind of the the customer segments they serve and tell their story. And so really about getting clear on the messaging is about, it can be about, articulating pain from the point of view of the ideal customer and writing about that and commenting on it. That is going to create, empathy and understanding and a deeper bond than going out and pushing your own brand story, for which people generally turn off from it and turn away from it. So that's definitely one thing. The other thing I see a lot of brands doing is they think they have to be everywhere and be trying everything. The nature of marketing has become, it's wonderful that, it's becoming a much more measurable discipline. And that there are many new paths to get the message out. People think that they have to be everywhere because it's the latest flavor of the month, and they sometimes spread themselves too thin. So at different levels of an organization's scale, this one changes, but I certainly see small to mid-market brands and growing small to mid-sized companies still thinking that they're at the size where they can do everything everywhere, and that's just absolutely not true, and it will spread them too thin. So I just encourage everyone to kind of get clear on the core customer or customer segments that you serve, get clear on their pain and how to communicate effectively to attract them to you, and then pick the channels that are only truly necessary for communicating to them through. And then just double down on strengthening those areas to get to the next level of scale, where maybe you can add that next layer of complexity and open up a new market segment and then a new marketing channel that you've achieved scale to go and pursue. So I think that's different stages of a company's evolution. They really got to get smart and clear on saying no to more things than they say yes to, and then winning on the places that they decide to double down on. So that's where, as we've evolved as an agency serving our clients, we're getting better and better at strategy. So that's why we say we position ourselves as a digital CMO. It's because we're helping brands decide where to invest based on what we've seen success in and where they're going to win as a result. And so it's sort of like this, there's that whole, I hate using like military analogies, but like aim, fire. And it's like, you don't want to spend all your time aiming without firing, but you also don't want to fire everywhere. So getting good at knowing where to aim and then fire is key to success and, increasing time to value for brands.
And what are some common misconceptions when it comes to marketing? I mean, I hear people speak and they talk about advertising and marketing. I'm like, well, wait a minute, that's two different things.
Yeah, the language can get confusing. From my point of view, I bucket them as, you've got branding and you've got marketing, or so generally speaking, it's like brand messaging, top of funnel awareness. It's helping who you serve, what your colors are going to look like, what the logo and the fonts, and so it's that look and the feel, and it's highly on the emotion side, and it's tying in brand messaging into company core values and mission, and really trying to get to the soul of what an organization is about. And then you have, marketing or advertising or performance marketing, which is generally about then sort of amplifying that message to reach your audience. So, so small, medium-sized businesses really get clear on knowing, what kind of agency they're engaging with, because generally they loosely bucket themselves in those, or have a core strength in one of those two areas. They can be a wildly creative place, but not great at execution. They're much stronger at ideation. And so, as business owners are out navigating how to solve for marketing, it's like, I would generally look at least those in the small to medium-sized space, providing service to small to mid-sized businesses, get clear on what your needs are. If your needs are your strategy, your words, your core customer identification, the look and feel, you generally want to find a branding agency or a creative shop. And if you want to, start scaling your business and grow it, you want to be in the hands of a performance marketing firm who's really good at execution and data and analytics and customer journey mapping and driving growth in the business.
So, Luke, how much should growth-oriented companies budget for marketing? I know in the old days it was like 10% of revenue should go toward. Is it that simple, or what would you suggest?
Yeah, generally 10 to 15%. I've seen stats, and U.S. companies earmark a lot more. Companies that really invest in marketing tend to have faster growth. It really depends on the type of business. If it's a service-oriented organization that requires additional headcount as a business grows and scales, business owners really need to look at how fast can my quality of service to a larger customer base scale as we bring on the next group of customers. And they may not want to grow 15, 20% or 30% a year. They may want to scale a little bit more linearly. So really it's dependent on the nature of the business, what stage it's at, in order to determine that. But generally speaking, earmark 10 to 15% of revenue as a bucket to put marketing in, and that'll include a number of different things, including some internal headcount, some outsourced agency, and anything else the business wants to do. But I think that's a pretty safe place to start.
And is there a great place to get started with the digital marketing?
Yeah, again, there'll be nuances for businesses in particular stages. So, with that caveat out of the way, without a doubt, the website is the cornerstone of a good digital strategy long-term for most businesses. You own that piece of media. It provides education, very important. Probably the most important part of a customer's buying journey is them being educated on why you and what about you that will serve them. And it serves many stakeholders, from investors to strategic partners to future employees, and then of course to the actual customer segments. So I think website, if you're just starting out, it's make sure that is in order. It's where the rest of digital marketing typically will funnel to, and it does so many jobs. So just invest there, get that piece done really well, make sure it's mobile responsive, and that's the starting point for the strategy. Everything else is about traffic to and conversions from that place.
So that also leads into the question: where should you be focusing your dollars? Should it be Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram is more visual, so obviously that would probably be a consideration if you have some sort of a product, I would imagine. For my industry, I don't know what you'd put on it. In your financial services, it's like, a picture of me at my desk on a phone. It's not exciting.
Yeah, totally.
So, but yeah.
Totally. Yeah, I mean, and again, it really depends on the business. So it depends on the brand. So we for example, we have a lot of companies in the services world, trades and services. So, so primary lead generation to grow the business through their customer base, we do work for them on search engines, both paid and organic SEO, so their website would get found by their core customer that's looking for the services they provide. And that's generally a great place for attracting their core customer. But we also leverage social media channels, but in this instance, we're talking about helping attract employees. So again, it's working back from what is this marketing channel aiming to serve? Where are we funneling the folks that we attract from it to, and why? And in the case of many trades businesses we work with, we'll do social media marketing to attract their talent, because as their customer base scales up, they need to serve it through the headcount that's doing the work. and often they need a constant flow of applicants to steadily grow their employee base to serve that customer base, and they're just two different strategies. So when we talk about marketing really touches the primarily the front end, but it also sets the stage for the experience employees have throughout their life cycle with the brand, and likewise for customers. It's the starting place and sets the tone for the rest of the experience that customers have with the brand. And so, just get clear on, the type of business you're in, what marketing channel you are going to leverage, and for what purpose. And so hopefully that helps you. I mean, I certainly, I certainly see a role for these things in, a customer journey where they found you through other means, and maybe they'll pop to your Instagram page to see, like, are your people happy, or what sort of, what's the more personal side of the brand, and Instagram can be used for that. But, if your resources are thin and you don't have the time, money, or capability in-house or to outsource a channel, then my general thought is, you don't need to be there. Don't spread yourself too thin until you're at a point where you're scaling and have the resources to be in more places than one. It always starts with strategy, right? So work back from what you're trying to accomplish and get clear on what the goals are and how to measure it. Then determine if it's worth pursuing.
So if you're in the B2B space, I'll just use my example. So financial services.
Yeah.
Is it really worth your time being on Facebook? Are you better off spending more money on LinkedIn, or is it a bit of both?
Yeah. I think Facebook's evolved over the time. I think LinkedIn is a stronger platform for B2B environments, for sure. The audience is there more so. The tone of the dialogue and discourse is at a different level. There's a heck of a lot less noise. And, it does provide a channel to, show your professionalism or your thought leadership or your expertise. But I do believe Facebook still provides that, mostly because businesses are all there and many entrepreneurs are there. Facebook has become such a huge tool in marketing businesses that you'll find, entrepreneurs there and, still be able to communicate and build community in a B2B context. What I see, service providers like you, Pascale, getting right in that world is, putting themselves out there personally. Those folks generally get it right when they're, shooting basic videos of them talking about their subject matter, the subject matter they have expertise around and the passion with which they come to it. So anyone willing to put themselves out there, and I know that's not for everyone, but generally I see the folks doing that in professional services. So, solopreneurs, financial services, coaches, and so on. They really know their stuff and they're willing to put themselves out there and speak about things and how they help as a way to give value, like give lots of value. Don't be out pitching because you'll never grow an audience, but get out there talking about the things you're passionate about, and you'll get an audience because people will tune in because they'll find that you're highly educational. And then, when you get good at providing tons of value, then you can feather in the ask or the odd promo, right? If you're giving, and you're growing, people are like tuned in, then the odd time you can say, hey, come support my book launch or come support my event. By the way, I'm having an event. You do that, ever so often. Facebook, it's the same thing on Facebook as it would be on LinkedIn in this case. You give value, eventually you'll grow your audience.
Great. And a quick rundown on SEO and AdWords. What's the difference, and do you need both?
Again, it depends. The difference is in the game of Google Ads. The the placement of your website or perhaps landing page or wherever you're trying to direct that traffic to is on the top, spot of page 1 of Google, right away. And you're in a cost per click game. So you're buying clicks for keywords. So it's basically advertising on Google for specific words that you believe your customers are searching for. So the upside to that is it's instant. You can track leads quite well, and this is just one of the Google products that you can buy advertising around. There's Google Display Network. There's a whole host of, there's Google Shopping. There's a whole host of things we can do to drive traffic through paid ads via Google's family of products. The difference between that and SEO is, and what SEO is synonymous with, is organic search. So if our listeners can imagine a what's called a search engine results page, or a SERP, is, basically you type key terms into a Google search bar, it returns a page. At the top of that page are the ads, and that's generally what users will see right away. Scrolling down is where websites show up in what's considered the organic placement. And so it's different in that you're not paying Google directly to rank your website organically in that area. Now, the thing to sort of that gets confusing is you're not paying Google, but you're paying, an agency like us or any others or someone on your team to do things that help get you ranked there. The reason why SEO or organic search is important is because more users click in that area. Research shows it's like 3 times more clicks come in the organic area. So, but it's a longer term play. So it takes more time to get your site ranked there. But over time, you get more traffic, better quality leads, we've found, and it's a much more defensible position from competitors if you can hold your spot there. So
like in the first half page, right? People don't scroll down past. Is that an old metric maybe?
People will generally scroll to the organic area, and they'll click on the 1 or 2, top spots there for what's returned. They'll do that more than they'll click on ads. They trust the organic returned links more than they trust the ads. So yeah, so it's, think like halfway down the page, and depending on where you're looking at it, it can be underneath the map. And then usually in the map, there's one ad and then a few other organic placements. So organic search is different from paid ads on Google. But just, don't confuse it with that. It's free. It isn't free. All of that real estate, if you will, is paid for. The game of SEO is quite frankly, it's a dark art, it's a black art, but increasingly becoming clear how to get it done right. And we've been practicing SEO at RTown, so I can speak to some of our metrics, but we've served hundreds of brands over the years. We generally find that we can get our clients to the top, to page 1 top organic spot within 3 months.
After how many months?
After about 3 months.
3 months. And what's that secret sauce to make it a really good SEO page ranking?
It's
secret. No.
Yeah, it's a secret, but it's about doing a bunch of the right things. So, and this is an ongoing topic that changes over time. I mean, there's conferences for SEOs to talk about this, and it's an ever-changing thing. So, important to note the date that this is recorded, and then know that it's going to change. But generally, things like linking your website to third-party sites with what's called high domain authority is good for SEO. Mm-hmm. Updating the content on the website with keywords in mind is good for SEO. How the website is coded, the technology behind the site, et cetera, is good for SEO.
It sounds like all this stuff I love to delegate and would never get into.
It's quite
um,
frankly a lot of work, manual labor for the most part.
yeah, and
It's just
brains
work
and
to be
techie.
performed. And then good SEO companies, and I can tell you a little bit about what we do. Good SEO companies measure work performed as well as ranking over time for keywords. And
Hmm.
good SEO companies know what words are important for a brand. So sometimes, brands think the customer cares about this search term and will search for it. Oftentimes they're wrong. So good SEO companies will be able to tell brands how frequent a search term is even searched on Google in any given month, how competitive it is, and their chances for winning. So again, it comes back to helping brands with strategy and picking the words they can possibly win for, and then going out to get them that placement for those words. And then methodology wise, it's looking at work performed over time and what that did to the ranking factor change. And if that impacts the ranking factor, do more of said work, do less of other work. If it's not having an impact, take another tack and try other work. So it's a highly iterative, measurable. It's a scientific process as well as a creative one. So, people.
Art and science.
Yeah, it's a combination of art and science, and that's really the best summary of digital marketing in a nutshell. Is you need kind of right and left brain, and to work with shops that have collaborative performance teams figuring this out for you.
And what advice would you lend to entrepreneurs who are looking to invest in marketing, and how should they go about approaching their own strategy?
Yeah, get clear on what they're trying to achieve and what their growth objectives are. Be willing to invest. The internet is a very competitive space now, and the early promise of uh, you know reduced costs around doing digital marketing. I think in the early days, digital marketing was synonymous with cheaper, and it still is in a lot of cases compared to traditional marketing. But it's becoming so important and increasingly important to get right that thinking of it as a low cost investment or just a box to tick is a mistake. Be prepared to invest. Approach it with clear, somewhat clear outcomes in mind, uh, and um, and I like to say, just get good at measuring what good looks like. Get clear, wherever you're making investments, get clear on what good looks like or what the expectations for return should be. So, put another way, you don't need to know how to do everything, but it's important to know what good looks like, so that there's a happy place, over time. And so, a really good agency that knows their stuff should be able to set appropriate expectations and a time frame for their time to value, and then and then they're set up for being delighted as opposed to disappointed.
Right, and feeling they wasted a lot of money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, and
So why do
get
you love
educated on it. I mean, I encourage. I mean, I'm excited about this stuff, obviously, but get educated on it because it's not going away. One thing we can go along on. I love the Jeff Bezos comment about. He gets asked. What he said is he gets asked all the time, "What's going to change? What does the future hold?" And that whole that Wayne Gretzky analogy is like, go to where the puck's going to be. I like what he says. What Jeff Bezos says is like, what everyone should be asking themselves is what's not going to change, and then build your strategy around that, because that'll serve you longer term. And what's not going to change is that people are, the internet's here to stay. The genie's out of the bottle, and we live in the age of the educated consumer. And the old days, a car buyer would go to 6 car lots before they bought a car. In the digital age, they go to like 1.3 car lots. So people who are making a very significant life purchase are talking to fewer people at dealerships. They're coming to a dealership knowing what they want to buy, and the reason is they're educating themselves. And so what's not going to change is the internet's here to stay. It's going to continue to be a force driving, a valuable tool driving business forward. And so the sooner, brands get in there and get their heads around all of it, the better they'll be to serve their stakeholders long term.
And why do you love marketing? We'll get into some personal questions here.
Yeah.
What do you love about it?
Yeah, obviously I love storytelling. I do love, I love the data side. One of my personal core values is around integrity and the pure definition of integrity. And I love, it's funny, I do have a degree in accounting, and two of my four parents
really? I didn't know
accountants
that.
or CPAs now. And so, my other two parents were on the media side, and one was an entrepreneur. So I grew up in a business household.
That's why you love the metrics. You're tying it back all to the numbers, because at the end of the day, that's what you want to do. That's integrity.
Totally.
It's numbers.
Numbers don't lie. Numbers drive business. They're very exciting. And so I love the fact that marketing again has become measurable. But I also I love the creative side. I love the complexity. I've grown up career-wise through the technology world, so I'm well versed in managing through change. So I like all of those things, and I love seeing an impact. I can tell you, I've sat across from clients, and just one recently where it's the business owner and their son in our office. Talking about wanting to sell their business and start a new business, wanting to, we've been driving their business forward for several years. Very predictable, lead generation, very predictable ROI that they were hoping we could pull off and just put that onto their brand new company. And I said, well, no, don't, we don't want to do that. First of all, it would be a brand new strategy for Newco. We'll have to build it, like we did here from the ground up. The other thing is like this, what we're doing for you here, you can sell this to the buyer. Like we've put you on a path where you're getting predictable revenue. Like that's really attractive to buyers, and you can sell at a higher multiple because you can prove that this is going to.
And that's really rare. That's
rare
when you're looking at that whole business.
I just remember the look on his face. I can still get goosebumps about this. He's sitting with his son, and it was like, holy crap! Like, this is, it was unreal. It was a really great feeling to walk them through that. So.
That's awesome.
So yeah, good.
And I know you love.
This is why I did this.
That's why you did this, yeah.
Totally.
And thank you. And so I know you love traveling as well. You've been to many, many countries.
Mm-hmm.
What's your favorite country, or do you have one?
Well, Canada's home. I always come back. It really would depend on what you're asking, but I guess I always default to the time in Myanmar, formerly Burma. So I was lucky enough to travel there in 2012, unknowingly. It was 2 weeks leading up to what became their first legitimate democratic elections in about 60 years.
Wow.
And one of the heroes to the common people, a lady who maybe isn't in as nice a limelight these days. Her name's Aung San Suu Kyi, but at the time she was the daughter of a famous general who went into house arrest for about 2 decades, leaving her family behind in Europe to fight for the people. And she was freed from house arrest, ran in a party that was minority. It became the minority government to the, what's been a pretty brutal military regime. So anyway, that's like, there's a lot of story in that country, not all of which I'm an expert in, but I was just really fortunate to be there for 2 weeks because the people having been a British colony for so long, they still spoke English and were very open and willing to communicate. And this is a country that was like completely untouched, in fact, sanctioned by Western countries. So there's no McDonald's, no Starbucks. There's very little familiarity there. An odd but beautiful culture, like really warm people. They'll give you, the shirt off their back, so that made the people there made it such a beautiful time. And then they have really beautiful sites that still most people have never heard of. One of the sites is a place called Bagan. And it's, I think it rivals the pyramids of Giza and Machu Picchu and, all the other sites people know about. What it is it's about 5,000 or so Buddhist temples in about a 50 square kilometer radius on this like really nice plain. And you get around on horse and carriage and there's hardly anyone there. And
untouched.
A fifth or sixth generation keymaster at one of the temples. Is like, his job is to protect some really like old school paintings. And so it was just like really beautiful and just such a beautiful landscape. And again, like hardly anyone's ever heard of it or been there. So yeah, Myanmar stands out. That was a beautiful time.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So one last question, which is completely random.
Okay.
If you could have dinner with anyone, dead or alive, famous or infamous, who would that person be and why?
Oh man, I should have a canned answer for this.
No, everyone has that thrown at them and they had to answer on the spot, but you can take your time. Got to be fair.
Yeah, appreciate that. Oh man. Gosh, and then I have to answer why. Dead or alive, and why? If I could have a confidential conversation, not that I would enjoy it, nor do I like the person, but I would, I think I'd probably like to sit down with Donald Trump. Mm-hmm. That's not saying I'm a fan, but I guess because I have to answer why, that's what's pulling me in his direction. There are way more people I would way rather sit down with.
So you said Donald Trump, and you would like to have a conversation with him.
Yeah.
Why?
I think
what did you want to?
Yeah. I think any sitting president in the U.S. at any point in time is having such an impact on the world at large that knowing what's truly going on inside their head, if they were willing and able to be open in a highly confidential conversation, again, I don't know if I would necessarily find the nuggets I'm looking for, but it would be a very interesting window to.
I could say certain things here, but I won't, and it'll turn into another hour conversation.
Don't jump to conclusions. This requires a couple of beers to unpack, probably. But.
Yeah, we'll do that later, Luke. So let me ask you another question, and then I'll let you go, because I know you read a lot, and so do I. So I got to ask, two questions. What's your favorite business book, and what's your favorite non-business book?
Hard to pick a favorite business book, but I
the most recent one that was good.
Also hard, but I'll go with The Hard Thing About Hard Things by Ben Horowitz.
Okay, I don't know that one.
So this is about it's basically he's one of the founders of Andreessen Horowitz, like a very big venture capital firm in the States, and he's had past runs as an entrepreneur, huge successful tech exit. But it's a book that's like no nonsense advice around what it is to be a CEO and the hard things that CEOs particularly run into. And so it's a book of very real circumstances that he found himself in and how he processed navigating them. So to me, that was just, it wasn't trying to be a book in a box or a how-to, or this is what you need to do to sort out your, it's none of those, where there's lots of those out there. He takes it's a very nuanced approach about the difficult positions you run into. So it's a really, really fantastic book. Plus he's got hip hop quotes, and he's very straight shooter, very helpful book. So that's phenomenal. Highly recommend that. And then anyone growing teams, I have to throw in read the 5 Dysfunctions of a Team. That's also a great book around teams. Anyone building teams or running teams, that's a must read. So I know I cheated because you asked for one, but I had to throw that in.
No, but I love it. I'm writing it all down. And non-business books. Do you read non-business?
Non-business book. I go to. I've it was a long time ago that I read it, so I hope it still stands the test of time. I believe it will. I do want to reread it. But I still heavily recommend Middlesex by Jeffrey Eugenides. And it is a book about, it's a historical fiction. It's about a 3rd generation born hermaphrodite named Calliope, born of incestuous grandparents who fled Turkey or Greece. So it sounds really weird, but it's got such beautiful prose, and I think if anyone has any shred of prejudice, on any sort of lines, race, gender, whatever it may be, this is kind of a book that I think will break anyone down. And but not that you need to be in that place to enjoy this read. It's just really beautiful book, and I think he won a Pulitzer for it, the author. But anyway, that's
fantastic.
Yeah, go to.
Well, that's
really,
great.
Really beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you so much, Luke. I appreciate all the knowledge, and I've got lots of interesting notes. Thank you.